Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a reason.
It's business, it's the office. I enjoy it because this is what I love to do.
Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter.
I understand, Canelo is bigger than me and whatnot, but I'm up for the challenge.
Canelo Alvarez has responded to Terence Crawford's latest training footage. Crawford is ramping up his preparation for a potential bout against Alvarez, combining strength and conditioning exercises like weightlifting and resistance training to boost power and stamina. He's also sharpening his punching skills with mitt work and heavy bag sessions, aiming to enhance speed and accuracy in the ring. Arab Sheikh Turki Al-Sheikh, a dedicated boxing enthusiast, has vowed to bring several world-class fights by 2025. Among these, the most anticipated could be the much-discussed clash between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, tentatively set for September. According to * Boxing News Online *, the two fighters secretly met in London last week, outside Al-Sheikh's radar, to begin negotiating the terms for their highly anticipated bout. ESPN * reports that the fight is being planned for Mexican Independence Day weekend in mid-September, to be held in Las Vegas. Renowned boxing specialist Mike Coppinger revealed, "From what I'm told, they're in the process of finalizing a deal for a fight in September, Mexican Independence Day weekend, with a 168-pound weight limit and no rehydration clause." However, a major hurdle remains. Crawford would need to gain 14 pounds to compete in Canelo's weight class. Canelo has steadily risen through the weight divisions over his career. He began at super welterweight, where he claimed the WBC world title, before becoming the unified middleweight champion at 160 pounds. He then briefly moved to light heavyweight, defeating Sergey Kovalev to capture the IBF title, before returning to super middleweight, where he became the first undisputed four-belt champion in the division. Known for his power, Canelo rarely allows his fights to go the distance, a trend that has held since 2016. For Crawford, this fight would require a leap of 2 weight classes. Crawford recently moved to 154 pounds, where he secured a world title by defeating Israel Madrimov. Despite his success, Canelo has voiced concerns about the matchup, emphasizing the importance of weight classes in boxing. "There are weight classes for a reason," he said, suggesting that Crawford's best performances have been at 147 pounds. Canelo's stance highlights a core principle in boxing: weight divisions ensure fairness and safety. While Crawford is a skilled fighter, the jump to 168 pounds could present a significant disadvantage due to size and power disparities, reinforcing the challenge of facing a seasoned and dominant fighter like Canelo.
Look forward past Saturday, but do you feel like a fight like Terence Crawford? I see he wants to fight, he's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better, no? Terence Crawford is a great fighter, he's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100% on Berlanga, and then you never know what happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Canelo Alvarez has criticized Terence Crawford's career, labeling his record as padded and lacking elite-level competition. Speaking to TMZ Sports Canelo stated, "Crawford is very talented, but he's only won one big fight. If you look at his record, he's beaten just one good fighter." Canelo referred to Crawford's most notable victory against Errol Spence Jr. as being over a diminished opponent, a weight-drained, post-accident version of Spence. Spence, who suffered a high-speed car crash in 2019, hasn't performed at the same level since, according to Canelo. Beyond that win, Canelo believes Crawford's resume lacks credible, top-tier opponents. He's a product of how clever promoters match fighters in this era, Canelo remarked, implying Crawford has benefited from careful matchmaking. Critics of Crawford's career echo similar sentiments, pointing out that most of his fights were against opponents where he was the heavy favorite. Despite a 17-year career, his record is devoid of marquee names or evenly matched 50-50 bouts. While his talent is undeniable, Canelo suggests Crawford's accolades may be inflated due to the lack of consistent elite competition.
Are you tired of people asking you about Terence yet?
No, look, I always say, I respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented fighter, but he just win one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter like Errol Spence is.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't think he's beating other great fighter like Spence. He did a really good job with Spence. He did like almost look very easy. But I knew Terence Crawford is a great fighter. But you never know in boxing. We'll see.
Canelo Alvarez recently commented on Terence Crawford's career, prompting a sharp response from Crawford on X, formerly Twitter. Crawford wrote, "Oh, that's crazy. So every fighter I fought is not good but one? Noted. Just remember what you said because I've always enjoyed making somebody's look like nobodies." Critics of Crawford argue that his career has been carefully managed, matching him against B-level opponents to maintain an unblemished record while avoiding top-tier fighters like Jaron Ennis, Bakram Murtazaliev, and Virgil Ortiz Jr. Some suggest Crawford should move up to 168 pounds and challenge the likes of David Benavidez or David Morrell to prove himself worthy of fight against Canelo. Crawford, however, remains confident in his accomplishments, dismissing claims that his resume is padded. He continues to assert his dominance, unfazed by detractors. Meanwhile, Canelo has acknowledged the widespread interest in facing him, stating, "Everyone wants to fight with me, so it's fine. If a fight makes sense, then why not?" Initially, Canelo expressed reservations about fighting Crawford, citing the lack of credit he would receive for defeating a smaller opponent. However, his stance has shifted in recent weeks. Canelo reportedly met with boxing power broker Turki Al-Sheikh in London to discuss a potential matchup with Crawford. If the fight materializes, Crawford will need to jump to super middleweight, a significant challenge. Two-weight world champion Teofimo Lopez, who has trained with Canelo under coach Eddie Reynoso, is among those skeptical of Crawford's ability to handle the size and power at 168 pounds. Despite these concerns, a potential bout has sparked significant excitement among fans and analysts, marking it as one of boxing's most anticipated matchups.
Disrespectful for Crawford to call you out at 68, say that he can beat you at this weight?
No, everybody wants to fight with me, so it's fine.
That being a biggest fight possible in boxing, is that something you'd actually be interested in?
It's crazy when you asking about that because you say, your matchup is coming out of the other weight classes and that's it, and he's welterweight, so don't make sense. But if the fight made sense, why not?
A lot of people have him at number one pound for pound. You think that's fair to you?
It's a few people there who deserve to be the number one pound per pound, and it's fine.
Canelo Alvarez has expressed confidence about a potential fight with Terence Crawford, stating, "Easy money. If the money is right, I'm in." He admitted he doesn't typically enjoy fighting opponents like Crawford, whose style involves significant movement, making fights less engaging for his preference. Despite this, discussions about a bout between the two champions had advanced, with reports suggesting an agreement for a fight in Las Vegas in September 2025. This potential matchup has sparked widespread excitement within the boxing community. Following his recent victory over Edgar Berlanga, Canelo addressed the possibility of facing Crawford, stating, "Anything is possible." He emphasized the importance of negotiating favorable terms for such a high-profile fight. In a subsequent development, reports emerged that Canelo and Crawford have engaged in discussions with Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh to organize a major fight in 2025. Both fighters have reportedly agreed on a September showdown in Las Vegas, signaling significant progress toward making the bout a reality. While these talks suggest a potential mega fight on the horizon, Canelo remains focused on his current obligations. He has expressed a willingness to consider the matchup with Crawford after completing his existing commitments, leaving fans eagerly anticipating what could be one of boxing's most compelling showdowns.
Always is a chance there, right? We'll see, but always is a chance there, and we're here to make the best deals and and always a chance.
And I do have to ask you about Dimitri Bivol, because that's a rematch you've always talked about wanting. How do you see the rematch going with Bivol and Beterbiev?
I think it's gonna be another good fight. It's gonna be another good fight. Both fighters are good fighters, so I think both have a chance to win. Like the first one was a really good fight.
So whatever is next, we look forward to it, my friend. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Canelo Alvarez is expected to play a key role in the Riyadh series following discussions about a potential mega fight with Terence Crawford. The event, hosted in Saudi Arabia, aims to showcase elite boxing talent, with both fighters reportedly agreeing to terms for a showdown in September 2025. Sheikh Turki Al-Sheikh has been instrumental in bringing major events to Saudi Arabia, offering over $200 million to secure Canelo's participation in Riyadh. In an interview during the opening of El Pastor del Rey in San Diego, Canelo stated, "I never say no to business, expressing openness to negotiations if the terms are favorable." He revealed that 80% of his fight profits, including ticket sales, go directly to him. Canelo explained that he willingly takes risks in the ring, knowing the substantial financial rewards make them worthwhile.
Saul, my carnal, how are you? Quick question. I know, as we walk, Canelo, how important is it that you've spoke with Turki Al-Sheikh?
Say again, please.
How important for you is it that you've spoke to Turki Al-Sheikh, and what did you speak about?
Look, I like to work with everybody. You know, I'm a free agent, and I like to work with everybody. And you know, I like to have the doors open.
Are we going to see Canelo Crawford next?
We'll see. It's a possibility there always. No, we'll see what happens.
Have you spoke with Turki about that show?
Yeah,
about Canelo?
We know each other. We don't talk that much for make a deal and anything, but you know, we now know each other, and we'll see what happens.
Last one, I know you're pushed for time. Benavidez Morel, who wins?
It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight. 50-50 fight.
Canelo, thank you for that.
In a recent interview, Mikey Garcia shared his perspective on a hypothetical fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Garcia praised Crawford as one of the most skilled fighters he has ever seen and recounted a conversation where he acknowledged Crawford's accomplishments and the lack of recognition he receives due to politics and favoritism in boxing. However, Garcia pointed out the significant size difference between the two fighters as a key factor in the matchup. Canelo competes at 168 pounds, while Crawford recently moved up to 154 pounds and has already faced challenges at that weight. Garcia expressed doubt that Canelo would drop below 166 pounds, emphasizing that the size and power advantage would likely favor the Mexican fighter. Despite Crawford's superior technical skills, Garcia admitted he was not in favor of the matchup, as Crawford has already solidified his legacy across multiple weight divisions. Veteran boxing analyst Dan Rafael also weighed in on the potential fight, highlighting Canelo's business acumen and the substantial financial incentives such a bout would offer. Rafael suggested that a Canelo-Crawford matchup could become one of the most significant in boxing history, attracting immense attention and generating significant revenue. He emphasized that both fighters are currently at the peak of their careers, making the potential bout a highly anticipated event in the boxing world.
May, I've read somewhere that Canelo has shortlisted Crawford for the May fight, his fight in May. Dan, what's happening?
Yeah, listen, I think it's just a fluid situation. I don't think there's anything definitive one way or the other at this point. I mean, it's not a secret that that's a fight that's been discussed by a lot of us and by a lot of people in the sport for quite a while. Certainly, it's a fight that Turki Al-Sheikh from Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in. And of course, if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with the Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very vocal about wanting. Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree. But it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it in terms of working with Turki or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees who can I fight where I can make the biggest score, in a big time fight.
Ryan Garcia has expressed strong confidence in a potential showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, predicting that Canelo's size and strength would give him the edge. This aligns with recent reports suggesting negotiations for the fight are nearing completion, with a target date set for September 2025 in Las Vegas. The bout is expected to take place at 168 pounds, with Crawford moving up 2 weight classes to challenge Canelo for his unified super middleweight titles. This highly anticipated fight is poised to be a major commercial event, capturing global attention from boxing fans. Terence Crawford has also voiced his enthusiasm, describing it as the biggest fight in boxing and a dream matchup he has long desired. While acknowledging Canelo's significant size advantage, Crawford remains confident in his abilities and eager to take on the challenge, stating, "Canelo is bigger than me, but I'm ready." With both fighters at the peak of their careers and the fight expected to be finalized soon, the clash between Canelo and Crawford promises to be a historic event, showcasing a compelling mix of skill, power, and resilience that fans worldwide are eagerly anticipating.
Guys, we know the fighters know the intel before the news gets released to the public. King Ryan was asked about Canelo Crawford. He not only says he can't believe they got that fight done, meaning that that's a done deal. We obviously knew that, but he also gives you who he thinks wins that fight, Canelo or Crawford. Do you agree with Ryan Garcia?
What about Canelo and Crawford? What do you think?
That's going to be a great fight, too. I can't believe they made that happen. Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate on it. But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter for a reason.
Last question, Ali. Stephen A. Smith shared his thoughts on a potential Canelo versus Terence Crawford matchup, emphasizing the intrigue surrounding the fight. Initially leaning toward Crawford, Smith praised his exceptional skills as a pure boxer, noting his ability to outclass opponents. However, he expressed concerns about Crawford's ability to hurt Canelo, a physically imposing fighter with immense power. Smith highlighted how Canelo's relentless pressure and powerful shots can overwhelm boxers who struggle to keep him at bay. While recognizing Crawford's technical superiority, Smith questioned whether Crawford could withstand or evade Canelo's power throughout the fight. Ultimately, he found the matchup compelling, with Crawford's skills and strategy likely being tested like never before against Canelo's dominance.
Speaking of Canelo, it looks very possible he'll fight Crawford in May. What would you think of that matchup, Canelo and Crawford?
You know what? I think my initial reaction would be to say that I think that Crawford would be the superior boxer, as great as Canelo is, as seasoned as he is, with 65 fights, if I recall, on his record. He's phenomenal. But Crawford is something special. I think that he's a better pure boxer. I think boxing-wise, he's going to give Canelo fits. My concern is that he won't hurt Canelo. And if he doesn't hurt Canelo and can't hurt Canelo, then Canelo keeps coming. Similar to how he stalked Charlo, how he stalked, once he had Plant hurt, he chased after him. Canelo is a very powerful individual who can get exposed by a boxer because every shot he throws, he's trying to make it a power shot. But to me, can Crawford hurt him? I would pick Crawford to win if he can box and stay away. I don't believe he can hurt Canelo. And if Canelo catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. And I'm wondering whether he could stay away. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer.
Crawford's fight with Julius Indongo proved that it might not be as easy or punishing as some initially believed. Early on, Crawford had his hands full, but ultimately showcased his true strength as a fighter. His willingness to fight and relentless drive to win are key factors in his success. Crawford's chip on his shoulder and determination to rise to the challenge, especially in tight rounds, highlight his championship mindset. However, the primary concern for a potential Canelo fight remains the significant weight difference. While others may speculate or try to downplay it, the weight disparity is a crucial factor that cannot be ignored.
Let's be honest, when Crawford fought Madrimov, he had his hands full, especially early in the fight. Now, I give props to Crawford because Crawford is the type of fighter where he does have like a chip on his shoulder and a willingness to win. He has drive, and if you tell him step it up, the rounds are too close, you're going to get a dedicated Crawford. So he is a true fighter, a true champion, all that. The biggest gripe I have with the fight is the weight. You guys could try to spin it and say I hate this guy or that guy. I don't really care. What do I look like being a true alpha and being bothered by what people say? I don't care. I'm telling you my opinion. And my opinion is not going to change because I know you guys can't change it. I've said the same thing, and not one time have I heard one of the Bud Buddies offer a solution to the arguments that I've brought up. Crawford is good, but so is Canelo. If they were naturally the same size, which they're not, Crawford is probably maybe a little bit taller, but I'm talking about mass.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.